gonna say I'm crazy no matter what.
Ooh.
Kim Kardashian says she doesn't believe the 1969 moon landing was real.
Who shot the moon landing?
Obama residence.
Yes, Mr. President. Who shot the moon landing?
Who's asking that?
Some kid from PS 139.
Hold on.
So why don't you just put the into the record in the argument and put your hand on the Bible, swear to God you walked on the moon.
Mr. Seibel, knowing you, that's probably a fake Bible.
Well, you're talking to the wrong guy. Why don't you talk to the administrator at NASA? We're passengers. We're guys going on a flight.
I don't hit people, but you're going to be on the deck unless you can.
I'm heading out. I appreciate it.
Get the hell out of the house.
Okay. Well, take your stuff and get the fuck out. Why don't you quote me and say it's bullshit?
Well, I don't give a damn about all that shit.
It's full of shit.
Of lunar orbit being falsified.
Mr. Seibel, you do not deserve answers.
If you show this publicly, you're open for a lawsuit. Okay?
Not the hopeful and the game of life. Yeah. Andy Kaufman in the wrestling match. Yeah. Monopoly 21, checkers and chess. Yeah. Mr. Fred Bassie in a breakfast mess. Yeah. Let's play Twister, let's play Risk. Yeah. I'll see you in heaven if you make the list. Yeah. So Andy, did you hear about this one? Tell me, are you locked in the punch? Andy, are you goofing on Elvis? Hey, baby, are we having fun? If you believe they put a man on the moon, and if you believe there's nothing up their sleeve, nothing is cool. Moses went walking with a staff of wood. Yeah. Newton got beaten by the apple good. Yeah. Egypt was troubled by the horrible ass. Yeah. Mr. Charles Darwin had the gall to ask. Yeah. So Andy, did you hear about this one? Tell me, are you locked in the punch? Andy, are you goofing on Elvis? Hey, baby, are we having fun? If you believe they put a man on the moon, and if you believe there's nothing up their sleeve, nothing is cool. Here's a little light for the never believer. Yeah. Here's a little ghost for the offering. Yeah. Here's a truck stop instead of St. Peter's. Yeah. Mr. Andy Kaufman's gone wrestling. Yeah. Andy, did you hear about this one? Tell me, are you locked in the punch? Andy, are you goofing on Elvis? Hey, baby, are we losing touch? If you believe they put a man on the moon, and if you believe there's nothing up their sleeve, nothing is cool. If you believe they put a man on the moon, man on the moon. And if you believe there's nothing up their sleeve, nothing is cool. And if you believe they put a man on the moon, man on the moon. And if you believe there's nothing up their sleeve, nothing is cool.
Hey, Globe Believer. Is this a photo of the Earth? Yes or no? Turns out it's artwork. Good look at it. Funded, of course, by the deceivers themselves. And yes, this is obviously, of course, you brought unnecessary basement action. You see, that's what this is all about. It's really to reinforce kingdom over you, so you're not king of your own dome. Hello friends, it's Friday and we're back with you. Sorry we missed you last week. Things were quite hectic for us, moving around, bouncing around as we have been, but we're stable. We've never measured the curve. And we just played that awesome cover that Alex Jasper, who's in the chat, hello, and Alex, I saw you popped in there now, and Frans, of course. Gee, wow, that was incredible. I've always loved that song, and obviously it became more poignant as a flat earther. And then to see that cover done like that, it's just, whoa. I said to him, mate, you've got to be playing that at next year's event, right? Yeah, absolutely. He's got a lot more songs up his sleeve, I think. So I'm looking forward to a lot more from him. or from you, Alex and Jasper. You guys have done some amazing stuff. So long may that continue. Tonight we have as a special guest, we have Belle coming on, and she too has been having some of the guru magic there with Alex and Frans over in Spain 2 weeks ago now. Is it last week?
No, it was only last weekend.
Oh my goodness.
Not even 2 weeks.
This time a week ago, Belle was arriving in Spain, intrepid, like got to go and do the thing with Alex tomorrow. And she ended up laying down a track mostly on that day, and then a little bit of tinkering on the Sunday. But they put together an amazing track, which I'm sure all of you have seen already. But I am going to play it again later before Belle comes on. She won't be on until about 8 o'clock, so in about an hour. And so before that, we'll just run through some of the normal things, some of the stuff in the world that's going on, stuff that's going on for us, and maybe take some questions in the chat. I see there's a fairly good chat to get started with. I had a big sort of news for me this week was getting my old channel back from YouTube, from they shut it because of the COVID, and it's 4 years in December, so we're just about 4 years without the channel, and it's kind of weird getting it back. I wanted all of that old content from years ago when I was doing walk and talks with Zizi when he was still young enough to carry around for an hour or so on our daily walks. I wanted all of that footage back. In the time, of course, I really wanted to reconnect. I wanted, I lost contact with the people that were still in, following the stuff that we were doing in South Africa. And I know that, the stuff we were doing in South Africa had a lot of positive traction. And Martin Leaker said, Dave, I would sometimes be sitting at home crying, watching you, talk to these and work with these homeless people there. I know Alex was quite moved by what we did. I remember him kindly sending us a donation back in the day, I think around that time. So having the channel back is kind of bittersweet because, it's like there's no apology, there's no acknowledgement that, for a lot of people, and for some people much more than me, it was a lifeline. And all of that just gets, oh, well, we've changed our mind now, we don't need to, it's not so bad that you were complaining about us poisoning people and suffocating children. So now I've got it back and I've put a video on. It's had some, 100 views. And so, welcome to any of those people who didn't know that I was where I'd gone and have kind of come back. But, it's like anything else. If you're not feeding the algorithm, and I haven't for 4 years at all, then you won't really appear very high on anyone's returns. So, it's kind of understandable. And in a way, now that I have it back, I also know that I've kind of moved on.
I was going to say, so much has unfolded since then. You're not the same. Man. But there was one video that I found quite fascinating that I wanted to see if I could just kind of show you guys. It's I just got to go here and fiddle around. Something went wrong. I did this video, right?
That I looked into.
I have to confess, I completely forgot. But I started watching it this afternoon. I was like, wow, that's a really informative video, Like, it had 1,000 views, which was good for my channel. But just amazing kind of insight on the distances that we have on our maps. I don't know if you can hear this. Maybe you could tell me if you can hear.
So, in the main, with the exception of large distances across, the kind of cruise ship type stuff, which I looked at as part of this research, it's not going to offer you a cruise, but it will take you over various bodies of water over into Europe from Africa, and then, as I say, through the Black Sea, and then over all the way through Russia, all this way through Russia to Vladivostok, right over here, near Japan, North Korea, if that's even real. And how long do you think that walk is? So remember, this is 10.5. Sorry, 9.5. My apologies. This is 11. This is 11 here. So how far do you think that this walk is? Well, this walk is 11.7 thousand. So near enough the same distance from Durban to Algiers is the distance from Sharm el Sheikh to Vladivostok. So if I was just to use my fingers as a guide, like that. I mean, this is bending around a bit, but just to say, roughly speaking, I would say Vladivostok on a fair map would be somewhere around there, just on that basis alone. From Sharm el Sheikh to Ho Chi Minh, over here in Vietnam. Sorry, Ho Chi Minh's down here. This walk from here to here is 10,000 kilometers, and it's not too dissimilar to the Africa measurement. So when I was doing my research on this, I realized that perhaps this stretch of land isn't remarkably swollen like this area is. Let me press on. From Lisbon.
This, guys, because you guys might fall asleep on me, and I don't really want that to happen. But I did that video 4 years ago, and it's amazing because I was listening to it. Now, 4 years ago, we're in Winchester. We had like a 6-week stay in a. Oh, it's a long story. We had a 6-week stay in a place in Winchester in return for doing some like gardening and some things around the place. But there was a big wall map there, I think, and I used the opportunity to route using Google Maps to walk everywhere around the earth. I did hundreds and hundreds of walks over the space of a few weeks, and I came up with this alternate map based on shrinking things because the distance, as I was saying in that video, you wouldn't maybe have heard me say, but from Durban or Cape Town to the very top of Africa, you're looking at 10 to 11,000 kilometers, depending on routing. But then you take a route from Sharm el Sheikh in Egypt across the Red Sea into Black Sea and across to Vladivostok, and that distance is like 7,000. It's way, way, way less. And yet on the map, of course, it looks much longer. So things are swollen. There's the journey from San Diego up to Alaska is like well shorter than you'd expect. You look at that and you think, wow, that's going to be longer than the trip from San Diego to New York, but it's shorter. So I did a lot of these, and it was kind of weird listening to myself from 4 years ago because obviously at that point we were leaving the UK, going to South Africa, and with the belief that we were going to set up a new life with this other couple and grow some weed, and it's legal there, and do various things on the land and so on. And we sold everything. Well, we had nothing to sell. We sold the truck, right? And then a guy I sold it to, it got clamped like days after I got clamped because stuff. Anyway, so cost him $1,000, although he only paid me $1.5 grand for it, so it was all right. But anyway, so we go through this whole firestorm of what South Africa was, and then the 4 years since then that we've been back, 3 years since then we've been back, and that in itself has been another particularly interesting, challenging journey. So listening to myself from 4 years ago, it's like kind of listening to a different guy because there's been so much water under the bridge in this time. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting video. I'm going to get it downloaded and re-uploaded on my channel because I think it's just obviously guys who are stuck on the globe and all of that are going to find excuses for that. And we know that the maps, it's accepted, Gall Peters and Mercator and this and that. The projections don't show Africa the same size, right size, and Greenland's made too big, blah blah blah. But people just make excuses for that. If it's their preference not to break with, conformity with the world. But I'm glad to see. I'm glad to see there's some Glyph. Nice to see you. We were talking to Glyph actually last night with Alex and Shelley about promotional stuff to do with his new angle with the Alex Michael and solfeggio connection, rather than having the sort of baggage, if you like, of the conspiracy stuff, which obviously even people in the healing frequencies type area don't want to go near. It vibrates too high for them. Hi Terita, I've seen you on. I know who you are now, so that's good to make that connection. That was getting my channel back. I know because Astro, what's his name? Santos. He'd got his back. Mark Devlin, and I was like, oh, what's that all about? So there was a thing on my channel, on my little thing on YouTube, because normally it says, or has done for 4 years, action not allowed. Then underneath that it said, apply for, you can apply to see if you can get your account back, and I did. And the following morning I got it back, and they are the corporation, and I know obviously the beast. Sometimes we have to make a deal in order to kind of, get the message out, as it were. And so we are working with the colluders here, who work with the system, like Facebook and all the others, and some would say that, oh, Zuckerberg was pushed to do it, he had no choice, or whatever. I don't think that's how it works. I think that they were always installed to be able to offer that, or to be that gateway to take us or to control us. And I hear that as of soon, American Apple users will have to have a digital ID. But people have been softened for that.
Technically, they do already.
Yeah,
but
they've already been doing thumb prints for years. Some people have to unlock their phone with their face, or choose to rather. People do with the car. It's a fingerprint. Blah blah blah. Obviously, iris is the final kind of thing that or the deepest thing that they want from us. There might come a time when I'm really mindful of this, that there might come a time when I can no longer use a smartphone unless I'm verified, and for like traveling, using it as a ground-based satellite navigation system. I feel like there may be some things that I use it for, but I may have to make certain allowances, and then say, oh, maybe I can't have the smartphone anymore. It may come to that.
Well, I think it's not. We need to not see it as we can't have it. We've got a choice, right? Because if you say you can't have it, then you're still the victim. If you say you're choosing not to have it because you're choosing not to, and some would say, well, we're not really got a choice. Well, I don't see it that way. I think that when we trust that life is working out for us, and I think that's incredibly difficult to get ourselves back in that freedom of the mind, and we're all in a process of doing that. But that sometimes, these things are taking us on a path, and there will always be solutions to the things that are aligned with whatever our path is.
I just noticed that the thumbnail for the show was not aligned properly. It's 90 degrees off. It's a photograph that Zizi took of a mushroom in a forest in Cotswolds, and it's been put in at 90 degrees off. So it's meant to be growing up, not sideways. Something that we find that happens in nature is that everything seeks upward. Even when the tree falls down, you find if the roots are still attached, there's branches that'll grow, and they'll quite quickly go perpendicular, almost perpendicular, where they can. All plants know that. Years ago, it reminded me when we were walking in the forest, and we were talking about that with Zizi, and I said, years ago when we were in the house, we did an experiment, he and I. He won't remember it, but it may be on my old channel, where I took a bed of carrots and I tilted them at 45 degrees to see how obviously that the the roots would find. I mean, the shoots would find their way perpendicular. Everything understands that. And if the sun was this thing like up here, all the way up here, then things would be seeking that sun. It would be kind of going up the side of the ball. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. It's so you can get lost in all of that. And I saw something the other day that comes to mind. Dave Weiss was invited. He went on a guy called Shiva. He's a doctor, MIT doctor, who claims to have been the inventor of the internet. No, email. Inventor of email. And clearly is a very smart man. And he tried to stand against Trump in the last election. And is very much an outsider in the sort of mainstream political spectrum. And I don't think he got very far at all. Maybe a few thousand votes in total. But he's vociferous in his condemnation of the swarm, as he calls it, and
he's an angry man.
Angry man, yes, but and he's been calling out RFK and so on, and he calls him booby effing Kennedy. Anyway, so I've watched him a bit over the last few years and followed a little bit of his trajectory. And then when I spoke with Dave Weiss a while ago, he was coming across as fairly agnostic, and then suggested that, well, we should be doing a proper experiment, probably science, and he hasn't clearly done much research on where we've got to and what the conversation has been over the last 10 years. With regards to this. However, he brought some people together without Dave Weiss. I think Dave maybe wisely decided not to engage with it. But he brought people together, including McToon. So, he's certainly got it's not like he's looking for a scientific thing. He just wants, because McToon is not a scientific guy. He's just repeating, the dogma. Anyway, I listened for about an hour, maybe, until I had to shut it down because, well, McToon comes up with yet another, let's look up into the sky to determine what the Earth is. Like everybody needs to kind of plot the position of the sun, the angle of the sun at the same time, or something like that. And from that, we will determine whether the Earth is a globe. Which, of course, if that were possible, then that would have been done many times over. And Airy's failure is one of those examples of where looking into the sky doesn't seem to evidence globe or spin. So, and the same with that TFE stuff, whether it was fake or not.
I listened to some of that though, and to be honest, it was a nothing really, because they weren't there to like all the time. They weren't there to have a conversation.
No, but what kind of triggered me was that he got to the point where he came to the flat earthers and said, "Okay, so what is your experiment?" And a guy proposed an experiment, which was about having a light plane, a Cessna, fly towards an airport's guidance radars that come off at a kind of, there's two of them that come away from the airport at an angle like this, and if you can measure the distance that they travel, the plane travels through that. He's not trying to land, but he's coming through at say 10,000 feet or 5,000 feet or whatever. You can make some kind of calculation, and it was quickly. Oh well, what if there's like an error amount and so on? I was like, well, that's not really going to cut the mustard. But and it got to the point where it felt like Shiva was saying, you guys need to have an experiment to prove the flat Earth, prove the flat, that the Earth is flat. Which I'm like, well, it's water. Why are you bothering with all this stuff up in here when the level, the Earth is 70% water? Everybody accepts that thereabouts. Water, and the physics of water is, as the Smithsonian Institute and any other scientific body is the science of water flow, is that water must be contained, otherwise it will flow away. If it's not flowing, it's in some kind of containment. And when that water is undisturbed, then that water is level. And I thought, well, what is the largest spirit level that's ever been built? And it turns out that they're not very large. The best you can get is about 3 meters in length. But when you search for the longest spirit level on Earth, then the first hit that comes up from the AI, whatever, is the Loch Ness Lake in Scotland is considered by scientists to be the world's longest spirit level. It's 35 kilometers long, and because it has almost no tidal movement whatsoever, the tide it rises by 0.5 millimeter, and it is so level that scientists have declared it the world's longest spirit level. Now, this is the claim. This is the point at which flat Earth, or rather the globe, cannot kind of cross over. The things about how it spins and what the lights are doing relative to the Earth and all of that, no one's able to, although we know that, obviously we're not spinning and the trees would be, the wind would be insane if we were moving through the atmosphere, or that the atmosphere is somehow glued to us. None of that makes sense. But what we do know for sure is that this water curvature doesn't exist, and it's what I got into flat Earth with, was there is no curvature over water. The observation that you make of the ship going down is easily demonstrated to be, atmospheric effects, limits of vision, angle of resolution, the inverse square law. All of these sorts of things are what's going on with anything off in the distance. And there is a blindness and a stupidity that comes over the mind of the glober that will not simply do that. And then instead of doing that, instead of looking at, instead of measuring the curve, they will go and, let's look up there and let's, imagine that these lights are so far away and blah, blah, blah. And even with the Mactoon, moment of genius, so let's look at the sun and that'll tell us. We are not able to discern exactly how far the sun is. So the formula and the way that the sun works, is still a mystery. And I've been thinking about this hard for 10 years. It's still a mystery. There are many ways that it could work. I think that Dave Weiss has a dog in the race of it having to be this, once going around point. It may be that, but it doesn't have to be that. But what water has to do in order for it to be a globe is, although they would say, well, we can't demonstrate water clinging to a ball because we can't make a ball big enough that would make that happen, what they cannot get away from is that it has to be curving. Like I said to these German lads in Bournemouth the other day, I'm like, well, the ship is going down, right, to France. So when he's halfway on the journey, and he decides he's left his keys at home, and he turns around, he has to go back uphill, right? No, because when he starts the journey back, he's on the top again. The mind is so powerful, and the people that educated us know how the mind works, and they knew it better than we knew they knew it by the time they got to miseducating us. So if you believe they put a man on the moon, then nothing is cool. I'll hand over the mic at that point. Andrea has a few things to say on the astrology and the weather at the moment.
Actually, it ties perfectly into what you're saying because I respectfully, I don't agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that we sit in the superiority when we're in communities, whether that's a vegan or a Christian or a flat earther, and we're like, oh God, look at those idiots over there. They're just so stupid. They can't see this. They can't see the truth. They can't, they're fighting, they're just so stupid. And look at me, I'm so superior. And, we all do that, the masculine and the feminine. And I have way more compassion for, it doesn't mean I necessarily are going to spend my energy needing to fight them, because I think they're on their own journey and I don't need to save them. But I think that we we will stick to what we know. In fact, if it is offered to us and it becomes our foundation from 0 to 7, give me the boy and I'll give you the man, then it will be what the mind believes to be true, and what the mind believes to be true or familiar or certain, it will fight to the death to keep it, because that's the way it is safe. So we can say people are idiots, or that they're stupid, or that they can't see it, or that they're blind, or that they're asleep, or they're NPCs, or whatever we want to, but then we were too.
Yeah.
Because at some point that was us too. So I have a very different way of looking at people. It doesn't mean I don't get triggered by them. I just, I think my trigger is my opportunity to see why I'm triggered by it, and maybe that perhaps I need to have a boundary and say, no, that's not aligned with me, but I don't need to make you wrong.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even need to make you anything.
Yeah.
It's for me to feel like I'm true to my path. And so this comes to, for me, is really on point at the moment for the astrology. First of all, how's everybody been? We're in Scorpio season, and we have, if I'm not mistaken, 6 luminaries in retrograde, which means Scorpios are ready that, let's go to the deepest depths of our psyche and our shadowy beliefs and a shame and all that kind of thing. And so the sun's traveling through that. We've had Mars since the 22nd of September. It was now moved out of Scorpio. We had Mars there. We had Mercury there. We've now got Venus there. Venus in Scorpio is like, it's all about relationships and money and all those kind of things, but also wants to go deep, like really deep. No, doesn't want the things that are superficial. It wants the deep, important stuff. And we have Mercury retrograding in Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is the energy of truth, of freedom. It's ruled by Jupiter. It's expansive. It's our spiritual selves. But so is what is my most truest spiritual expanded self. And with Mercury, with any retrograde, the retrograde one again, they want us to go inward. It's that go inward. So it's the research and the review and the reset and the renewal and the rebirth and so all the REs, rest.
So I'm just going to get Andrew to pause a second there. I wanted to just, because on research, this is
you can't see it very well.
You can't. This is the oldest sundial, right? You can look this up yourself. The oldest sundial, according to AI, is a fragment of Egyptian shadow clock from around 1500 BCE. The description is this early sundial is a piece of limestone with a black semicircle divided into 12 sections. Now, the reason I'm telling you that is because I only looked it up the other day because I was challenged by someone in the facial book department to, they said, well, how do you think a sundial works? How, it would be impossible for it to work if the Earth was flat. It was obviously designed on the globe. So I went and looked. And of course, as I've said many times in the past, the globe, this one, is 500 years old, and it's the oldest one. So which came first? The sundial, 1500 BCE, or the globe, 1500 AD? There's only a 3,000-year gap between the two. Do you imagine they were for 3,000 years just trying to work it out and couldn't get it right, or they were using the sundial all along as a means of telling the time? And when you set up a sundial, you have to know your longitude and latitude. There are a number of things that you have to get right in order for it to be effective, to be set up right in a particular location. And this was all being done on the basis of a flat Earth. Make it to you.
No, you stopped my flow now, so you continue.
Okay, so I'll have to pick up the thing there. Sorry about that. But this for me is like, and it is currently held in, I believe it was discovered by the Vatican, but it's currently held in the Nuremberg in Germany. Speaking of Nuremberg, I'm reminded that someone, a politician in this country, called Andrew Bridgen, who was very outspoken during the COVID period, and then lost his political seat. He has said that there should be a Nuremberg, or they're calling for a Nuremberg for these people that were involved in the genocide, or the democide, as I think they're calling it. And unfortunately, it seems to me Nuremberg was a staged show trial to give the masses the sense that Fauci and others had been taken care of. Fauci obviously being of, from the party that were running things in World War II. But there is a lot more talk about, and I think that, whatever happened in 2020, and is still happening, and all the needle injuries and so on, all of that is going to get overshadowed by this drive towards war. I heard a European politician talking, no, an American politician. I'm not sure who they are. There's a whole lot of new faces in the Trump department. But they call it the Department of War now, don't they? And they're saying that, we are seeing Putin going into NATO areas now. And so we are going to be helping the Europeans by sending weapons over to them that they can then send on to Ukraine. It's all a little bit kind of murky anyway. But essentially, I see the escalation happening there. I see escalation happening in South America. I think that they're going to make so much rattling and sabers that we are going to forget, or rather it'll get lost in the noise of everything else that's going on, even if there is some kind of show trial and a few people are hung out to dry for a few weeks and then sent off to Epstein Island for the rest of their life for a holiday. A proxy war. Yeah, well, we've been involved in that. I'll tell you what, King of Rekar, that 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I made contact with a guy who was a brigadier in the British Army, and he had a very senior posting. Very, very senior posting. Although he was retired now, he said that some of my friends are, top generals and so on, and they said, you wouldn't believe what we're doing in Ukraine at the moment. And this is 2.5 years ago. So no, there's no doubt we're involved. Yeah, you agree Nuremberg was a show, absolutely. There's an event. Oh, you're at an event, or you are at an event with Andrew on the 27th of November. Well, he is, he's a guy that is, speaking for the people. He may not yet know the extent of the deception of the machine behind all of it. But he is a good example of how you can be in politics and be at a particular level. Maybe know some things, but definitely not knowing the big ticket items, the stuff that we've found. Okay. Yeah. You wrote him a track, Andrew Bridgen. Oh, wow. Okay. Nice to see you, India. And Sven, big yo to you, Dave and Andrea. Nice to see you, bro. And Ryan Boston Bear. How you doing, brother? Squirrel. Ben Flat. I don't know if that's the Ben. I think it is. I believed it till I really looked at it, just saying, yeah, well. Whale. Be flocked. Mathematics that celestially compare flat to curve is not scientific without an empirical standard valid reference. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to get that, isn't it? And actually, the thing with all celestial navigation is triangulation, right? And it doesn't matter how high you are above the sea or whatever. You could be right on the water, you could be at 100 meters above it, but you're going to take a straight line and then triangulate that to determine your heading or your distance. It's not my wheelhouse, but I've looked into it a little bit. There's so much infighting within Flat Earth now too. One of the things about that is that, like, even though we know the truth, we don't necessarily, that doesn't at all mean that we assuage the tempest, the ego, the social construct, the way that we were raised, the way that we experience life. We may even be carrying past lives and vibrations from the Father, as it were. And so how do we know? How do we grow beyond just simply knowing the truth? And I think that that's what I see in our community, is that we're not just, all we need to do is discover that we've been lied to, because that's just the beginning of the journey, right? You've been lied to. You've been sailing this course for a long time. We all have, and so we come together as people who've all, if we want to, got traumas to set down. We come from a bestial system, a Darwinian dog eat dog, shortage, lack, thieving, greeding, all of these sorts of things. We come from all of that. And simply knowing the truth about the shape of the earth, or 9/11, or even the Titans, no, it doesn't matter what we all of this stuff, Tartaria or whatever, mud flood. Yeah. I'm just thinking about a conversation I had with someone about mud flood this week. Someone completely new, older, just ended up having this conversation that led into mud flood. So I sent her a video. Haven't heard anything more, but you know how that goes. But the thing is that it doesn't really, in a way, it doesn't matter. If we know all of this stuff and do not set aside the cage, the mental cage that remains, we may know the free man stuff, we may travel without licenses and insurances and all of that sort of stuff, but that doesn't assuage the within, the man within and the woman within. And this perhaps it's also this need to be right. In the flat Earth community, people are like so upset if I don't believe their version of something. When we're talking about curvature and observations over water, or how the mathematics might work, or that's one thing. But then people have gotten into like, oh, the Earth is rising up, and it has to be that for some. I don't know, Liz. I feel like sometimes we are so fixated on knowing the truth about the world out there, we forget the world within. And we may, in a way, if we cannot alchemize this truth and become closer to our divine intention, closer to the intention of the consciousness that set you on this path, us on this path, then we aren't ever going to do anything other than we might as well have stayed with the Netflix community and believe we live on a globe. You know, maybe not taking the needle, but you know what I mean. So I'm hopeful that that maturation is what we can achieve. But you know, it may be, like I've said many times, you know, it may be that some people are meant to stay at the circus. Some people are meant to be like the circus, the ringmaster of that circus over there, and that's their kind of destiny. That's their thing. But I wouldn't want to pigeonhole anyone like that and say, well, that's what they're meant to do. I believe that we all have the opportunity, we all have the potential to grow within. And actually, you might come across some people in life who are so beautiful within that is like, in some ways, it doesn't matter that they don't know everything about the deception that's going on. And in some ways, it's almost like kind of let them continue to be in that beautiful bubble that they're in, as long as they're not causing themselves harm by falling in line with needlecraft and all that kind of stuff. Oh, you're back. So, I was just talking a little bit because Liz had said, you know, that there's division in infighting within a flat Earth, and you know, I was saying about how it's so much to do with the work within rather than getting lost on the conflict out there. Do you want to add anything to that?
I don't know, because it seems like that we just want to talk about.
Well, that's me right now.
Talk about, you know, all the logical stuff. So.
Hi, Nora. I see. Did someone say Titans? Yes, I did. I was driving through an area day before yesterday, and I came across this area that took me a few minutes to drive through. So it was quite a mile or two of just incredible undulations that I thought, wow, that could easily be some kind of fallen beast. There were no houses anywhere around any of this area. It was just paddock or fields, and very strange shaped hills and fields. We have free will. I like this thought, Alva Billy. We have free will except for one thing, money. No one can exist without this, in this reality without this. I find that fascinating, PH. I mean, money is the means of exchange. I was just listening to something earlier that in America, you know, they were saying young people cannot afford to buy a house. That's true in many places in the world right now. Young people cannot afford a house, and they're blaming the immigrants for that. And if you can't blame the other party, blame the immigrants. So they're blaming the immigrants for that, and saying, well, we haven't built enough houses, maybe, but we've got this immigration flood and stuff like that, which begs the question, well, did those people leave houses behind? Because in the countries that they left behind, there's also a housing crisis. So how can that be? I accept that. Maybe the population over the last 100 years has grown exponentially. I think it has grown a lot, but the cost of the housing, this is what they will never say, the cost of the housing is based on the fact that people can borrow increasingly large amounts of money to pay for a property. So that continues to kind of drive the money that they don't have, drive the cost of the price of the houses up, because if I can borrow 200 and you've only got 180, then I'm going to outbid you and buy that house, and then the next person has to come in at 210. And so it goes until we've got to a situation now where an average salary for 1 month in this country is equivalent to pretty much what my father paid for his first house in 1967 in England. Two very different kind of worlds, but I don't think that the population has grown at that rate. It's and of course when you drive around, there's lots of new builds, lots of new houses, and a lot of the old big houses have been subdivided into 2, 3, 4, 5 houses, family houses, so that's not the problem. I think it is to do with the banking cartel again, stealing our money through this through interest, and then lending you money into the future so that you can buy something that is outside of the people leveraging mortgages. The whole banking thing is of course a bit of a scam. Anyway, so there's 33 watching, which is obviously a sign that this must be illuminated. Speaking of illuminated, I have agreed to do a talk in September next year in London called Illuminate and Elevate. So that's quite a nice idea, isn't it? To illuminate people, to raise people up. So I'll be talking on that. I'll give more information over the months ahead about that, and they are interested in me talking about street activism and also my understanding on the electromagnetic centrality of us as co-creators of this universe. So that's that coming up. Thank you. Cool. When you learn the astrology, it all starts to make sense. It's all about currency and vibration. Thanks, Rachel. Yeah, I mean, currency is, energy, isn't it? And love and money are the same, right? Yeah. I thought I've got in a little while. I've got Belle coming on, and she was driving home from a thing that she had on today. So I was going to play for you her song that she recorded with Alex. I want to play that shortly, just to give you guys a flavor of what what that's all about. I mean, the backstory quickly is that we met Belle a few years ago, and we were at a party, and it wasn't a party so much as it was a gathering of people who were had been protesting the lockdowns, and they would have a monthly gathering to get together, this group. And she approaches us. We somehow got an invitation, and she approaches us and says, "I believe you guys are flat earthers." And we start chatting because she's the only flat earther in the village, and we became friends. And then we ran into each other a few more times, and then she said she was coming to Alex's party, and I, for some reason, was like very keen to hear her play. And so I said to Alex and Frans, I said, so, my friend Belle's come, I would love it if you'd give her a slot so she can, do her thing. I hadn't heard her play, but I had the sense that she was good. Anyway, there were some technical challenges getting her rigged up because it was like a last minute thing. She didn't have her own guitar and tuning various things. So it was, I think, Alex said this to me, it was a bit of a challenging moment, shall we say. And then finally, in fact, Andy Kaufman was sitting near the front of the group and, watching Alex play previously, and now there's this sort of delay as they're trying to set up for Belle. And Alex is... Andy Kaufman, sitting right in front of her, says something, "You're tuning it wrong," or whatever. She bit back at him. I'm doing it right. I'm doing my thing, or whatever. And she was getting grief, right? Anyway, and then she started playing, and it had been like a while, 20 minutes, maybe a little longer, since there'd been any music. So the people who'd been enjoying the music found themselves chatting, and conversations had built up, and a noise level had built up, and then she started playing, and within a few chords, most of those conversations had died down, and by the end of the song, everyone was like, wow, that was amazing. So she's like, would you like me to do another? And Alex is like, absolutely. And everyone else is like, yeah. Anyway, so she ended up doing 3 or 4 songs for us. And so she, at the end of that set, she, Alex and Frans were like, wow, that was brilliant. We could do we could do some recording together. We could help you put some music down. And cut a long story short, that opportunity happened last weekend, and we have this amazing song to show for it. I'm gonna just see if I can cue it up, if I've got everything right. I just need to change this to that, and here we go. Bell. Thanks, Alex, for the video.
Can you feel it? I can feel it. Can you feel it? I can feel it. Bless your beating heart. You know your bones, they're a work of art. Bless your courageous soul. Its only goal is for you to be whole. Can you feel it? I can feel it. Can you feel it? I can feel it. When trouble comes along, you test the will of the brave and the strong. It's our prerogative to pay attention to the wisdom within. Can you feel it? I can feel it. Can you feel it? I can feel it. Sometimes it's hard to tell that our direction lies in every cell. When you feel it, you are free to live a life to infinity. Can you feel it? I can feel it. Can you feel it? I can feel it. Can you feel it? I can feel it. The knowing in your gut that makes the door shut. The chills on your spine come from the divine. That fuzz on your brain shows that you're sane. That pounding in your chest proves you are blessed. Can you feel it? I can feel it. Can you feel it? I can feel it. A word all warning here. Please take heed while the message is clear. Ignoring vital clues takes you away from your inner truth. From your inner truth. Can you feel it? I can feel it. Can you feel it? I can feel it. Can you feel it? You can feel it. Can you feel it? Can you feel it in your bones? You can feel it. Can you in your heart? Can you feel
1 second. I'm just trying to bring. For some reason, I'm not seeing Belle. I can see you here, Belle. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't know if...
And see you.
Okay, I don't know if I have got this right, because I can't see you on here for some reason. Can we just get Luke in here and see what the deal is? Guys, hold on if you can a second while I work out my technical problem. Maybe I need to just shut that. Let's see if that doesn't help. Just not getting... This is what I'm getting from Zoom.
Well, no, because it's mirroring your screen, so while you're on Zoom...
Oh, okay. We're good. All right. Okay. Belle's here. Belle, we've just finished... I don't know if you heard. We just finished playing Can You Feel It?
Yeah, I just heard that.
Awesome. Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think I just want to check that you're actually you're on. I think you're on now. Yeah, I think you're on. Okay. Well, welcome. I was just telling everybody a little bit about the backstory about how we came to know you, and then you got to be singing at the event at Alex's place.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're a new face in our community, so I wanted to introduce you and perhaps give you the opportunity to tell us a little bit about your backstory, how you came to Truth Music and Flat Earth, and then, you know, the coming up to the moment of you getting to kind of create this song with at Alex's place.
Okay, thanks. Trying to think where it all began. I mean, I've been truth seeking for a long time, and I've been playing music for a long time. And flat earth wise, I definitely got to that after COVID. I know some people got there a long time before, but I, you know, kind of went through a lot of searching of lots of other, knocking down lots of doors, and then got to flat earth and was like, oh, okay, this is yes, this makes sense. And not long after, that's when I met both you, Dave and Andrea, and Zizi and Luke, etc., by a chance meeting. And then concurrently, I was writing an album. I had experienced a very deep grief in my life, and I was writing from that place. And then as I was researching more and really finding my own sovereignty in this life, which is what personally for me, the flat earth journey has helped me to gain more connection to myself and the cosmos and everything that's around us. My grief kind of, at that point, I felt like I'd worked through it, and I began to write other types of songs to mirror my own personal experience in myself and in life and in this being human, especially now at this time. So yeah, that's how it developed. I mean, I think we were talking about this in another conversation. Art mirrors your experience, or maybe I was talking to this about Alex. I don't know. You know, your experience is your life, and most people that make art, whether through art or music or poetry or whatever they do, it's just a way to communicate how you feel at a certain time, or the experience that you're experiencing. So that's the form that my music is currently taking. And yeah, I just had the great privilege of recording with Alex and Frans, which was a wonderful experience. And I actually just got back now from recording some more music. So I'm hoping to release that soon as well. I've been ready to record for a long time, and haven't really found the right people to do it with. And then all of a sudden, after attending the wonderful event that you both helped to organize, I feel that now I've met the right people to record with. So I feel very thankful and grateful and very happy about that.
Awesome. Well, you certainly made a huge impact at the gathering, and I think your music your lyrics, all of that will add a lovely flavor to the journey that we're on, and to reaching perhaps new people with clever melodies and lyrics and that kind of thing. So that's where you're going forward, is to put out, you'd like to put an album together and get that published this coming year?
Yes, yeah, as soon as possible, or or a series of singles. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just really want my music to be heard. I think it has something to say, and I really hope that it can accompany people, because I know that I've been so positively impacted by certain specific albums or songs. I just want to do the same, and yeah, positively impacts the people who listen to it. So yeah,
that's beautiful, and it has a nice tone. We know that you've agreed to sing next year at the event in September in Spain, the gathering in Spain next year, and you've also agreed to and also that you've agreed to join us in April for an event that we're going to host in England. So look out for that, because Belle's a real treat to listen to. Alex is in the chat. He said, "Can you ask Belle to turn her mic down, or if you can back it off quite a bit?" I have no idea what that means, but I don't know if you can turn your mic down. I don't know if we're. Why headphones?
maybe I'll put some headphones on. That might be better.
So I'd like to chime in terms of
Is that better?
Yeah, that's, well, for us it's fine. Maybe not for the listener. I don't know. But I think actually it ties in really well with what someone said earlier. I think it was Liz said. There's so much infighting even within the flat Earth community, and that I feel that your input is the tonic that we need in our community, because and the words from this song in particular for me really resonate, because it's can you feel it, is we can get stuck in our minds and in the logic, but actually we're feeling beings, and now more than ever with AI, us using that power of feeling is really important. It's part of what helps alchemize all the information that we gather, which is important. But unless unless we do the feeling part, then we can't find that sort of middle ground, or that harmony, or that peace, really, because the information, I think, can often be so much to take on, and there's a whole lot of feeling attached to it, entangled in it. And so the way of alchemizing that is actually doing that feeling part, which, like you said, going through the grieving process was actually how you were able to alchemize that experience. There we have Alex in the
Hello.
In the
Look who's here.
What's going on? Sorry to gate crash.
So I just said the other day to Belle that I felt like her music was a tonic. It was something, a piece that I think was missing from not only this community, but the world at large, because we can get so bogged down in the information, in the mind stuff, which is what I believe truly is our cage, is our mind. And when you can drop down into the body and be in the feeling part, then that's actually, and you say that in your words, that's where you'll find your freedom. So I think it's a really beautiful and timely.
Yes. Yes. I mean here, the coming together of, I think someone very influential in our community, Mr. Alex Michael. Thank you very much for joining us. Coming together with him or having a an energy, coming together, I think is poetic beyond anything that I could have imagined when I nervously picked up the phone and said to him, "Why don't we have a party together?" back a year ago, whenever, 9 months ago.
It's not usually my modus operandi. It's not, because I tend to sort of stick in my studio and do my activism that way, and having all those people around or working with other people is not something I usually do. So that weekend, inviting 70 people to my place was like, because I'm actually quite an introvert, really. I only become extrovert when when I'm in good spirits, so to speak. So that was my coping mechanism all week for that weekend, and inviting other people into my studio. And I don't work with other people particularly well, but the right people I seem to. So I'm very, very choosy when it comes to working with other people. But when I heard Bell, it was like, this is pretty fucking, all these unusual jazzy chords that I can't play. Even Frans can't play. Frans is a way better guitarist than I. It's like, this is unusual. This is a sound I haven't really heard before. And so I can't really remember the conversation because, as I say, I was powered by Hennessy that whole weekend. I just remember being so moved emotionally and going, you've got to come to Spain and you've got to come and record it. So, as you said, yes, and it was brilliant. We had, and obviously I had my apprehensions because it's like, there's a new person coming into my house but it worked brilliantly. We had such a great weekend. We went out for a meal and everything, and we got most of it in the bag on the Saturday. And on the Sunday was just really polishing and adding, taking out a few of the mistakes and polishing a little bit of the guitar and that. And we was all sitting there looking at each other going, this is really fucking good, man, And Frans was there with his really awesome camera. And, we've created something which I think, we can all be proud of.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I completely agree. And it was a complete pleasure from start to finish.
Yeah, well, thanks I know it's a long way to come to a couple of days in the studio. I know, and that's why we were sort of encouraging you, like, get this equipment yourself, because just dedicate a space and and get Logic or Pro Tools or whatever, and and spend a few quid, invest really. Then you won't have to fly to Spain or go to a recording studio. You can do it yourself. And I've built my little setup. It's not amazing, but it's more than capable to do those kind of recordings. We haven't got a live drummer or anything like that, but acoustic stuff. That's why most of my stuff is all acoustic, because we don't have the room for the big productions or a string section or anything like that. So we kind of stick to what we're good at. And I love the acoustic sound anyway. It's so natural. It's so unbastardized, and it's just, what you can get with a vocal, some harmonies and an acoustic guitar is probably more profound and more touching and more real than any of the big productions that you hear, with popular music. So I'm trying to keep it raw and natural, and I love that sound.
Yeah, honest is what Frans was saying, wasn't it?
Yeah,
honest music.
It is totally honest. Yeah, what we was doing was really, really honest. There was a few little vocal overlays and stuff like that, but still really, really honest. I love that stuff. And at the gathering as well, it was just me and Frans on the guitar. It's just two acoustic guitar. It wasn't a big sound, but it was like a mini Glastonbury there. So you don't need a massive sound. You don't need that overproduced. You don't need that wall of sound. You just need a couple of guys with an acoustic guitar and meaningful, and the right people, of course. And so I was always like, let's scale it up. Next year let's do electric guitars. Let's have some processing pedals and all that sort of stuff. And I thought, well, no, we don't need to do that. It's just going to be more work and more of a pain in the ass to set up. So let's just stick to the acoustic stuff, because we can get that incredible vibe just from a couple of guys on an acoustic guitar. And I love maybe someone on bongos and now Jasper on bass. And it's like, so that's full enough for me,
Well, I think, Belle, you said after you performed in Spain that you reminded yourself, because afterwards you felt quite exhausted the next day, and you forget that when you're putting your emanation or your expression, you're creating not only, you're opening up your own field to, which is the vibe that you were talking about, Alex. You know, you're carrying your own field and vibe, and you know, we carry that around with us all the time. But obviously when you're performing, you're then offering it to the room, and it becomes this whole experience, which we all had the pleasure of in Spain with Alex's music and then yours. So, I mean, and that's the raw, true kind of stuff that we're talking about. You know, it can't be faked. It's coming from you, from your essence. And it's way more... you know, it goes back to the feeling again. You know, you can actually feel it. When it's all manufactured, then yeah, it's pleasant to listen to, but it's not a something that you can become necessarily connected to. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, performance is like a conversation. You know, you're in absolute conversation with the people that you're performing to, and it's very, very, very powerful. Because they're, you know, you're offering to them, but they're offering you back, which creates this field to navigate. Which which can be, if you're really open when you're performing, can be, you know, difficult to. Not difficult to experience, but it can leave you kind of affected afterwards, almost energetically, because you're having this sharing with the people that you're performing to. So, yeah, spoken to a lot of other musicians about that experience that happens, that field that's created when through performance.
Someone called Clabsy74, who's a latecomer as well, she says that. She was saying, "Oh boy, the weekend was amazing, and your lyrics were so touching." And there was some other comments that I thought you would find interesting. One of them, also from Nora, No One's Flower, says, "Alex and Belle and Frans together would sound amazing." Oh, that's a good idea. Imagine a scenario where that happened. That would also be quite phenomenal, you know.
Yeah, we could definitely cover that, because I think, you know, we've heard it enough times last weekend to know it. I mean, I don't know the chords, but you know, they seem, if I learn it, you know, I mean, with Bell on the, I mean, I could put the harmony in there. Frans could do a little. We could definitely do that live. And if there's any other songs, you know, we could always work together remotely and learn songs and stuff. You know, we're at the moment currently getting together a set list for next year. I'm going backwards and forwards with Frans and Jasper. Like, what about this song? What about that song? So yeah, because we'd like to do a whole new set next year. I'd like to keep the classics, like you know, I don't want to talk about NASA, which just, you can't not do that. Yeah, so things like that. Maybe a couple more Flat Earth Man songs, but yeah, I think the set list is going to grow now with Belle as well. We can include. It's going to be great. I'm so looking forward to next year. And with that property that you sent me today, that's just amazing, man. That's going to be absolutely. We can aim for a bit more. You know, maybe look at 200 people. I don't know. I think we could get 200 tickets sold for it, but it does come with a cost, unfortunately, because it's, you know, it's a big ass great. It's beautiful, man. But obviously, it's expensive, so we're going to have to incorporate that into the ticket price. So
Yeah. But and also we thought, well, if the numbers got to a certain point where we would cater in a different way, you know, we would buy in the pizza van or the hog roast or the, you know, whatever. We'd do something a little bit more like that. But we can refine those kind of conversations, you know, in other meetings.
Just so everybody knows, we obviously in the process of trying to find a venue, because as gracious as Shelley and Alex were to have us in his home, it's not something that his toilets can handle. So we're and of course we want to extend it to more people. So we're busy looking for a venue, but it has proved to be a little bit tricky because Javier's quite built up, and private villas don't tend to want to have events. But we found a property today that I think does do events, and it's in Denyer and sort of slightly out of Denyer, so not in the thick of it, and it's beautiful. It's palatial. So yes, but it does come with a cost, but it's very exciting. A very exciting prospect.
It would be it's such a sumptuous environment. You know, people who would go there would not only get treated to amazing music, good food, but an awesome environment as well to enjoy that. So
yeah, that's the big sell, isn't it? I mean, the Javier is a gorgeous place, and Denyer is the place. The palatial place you're talking about is in Denyer, which is like 20 minutes north. And that's a coastal town as well, and that was a big pull for people. I think a lot of people when they came, it was like, oh shit, this is gorgeous. Like, so, you know, I think now people realise how beautiful this area is, and they can incorporate that. Like they can have a holiday, they can have a week's holiday. If we did the event on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which I think that's when the solstice is, which is the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, right in the middle of the week. People do Saturday to Saturday or Sunday to Sunday. They can have a week here in the sunshine with the beach and everything, and the tapas and the, you know, just the Spain vibe, and then have a little gathering right in the middle of that week. So, but you know, so I think it's going to be a real draw. I think you know, just this area is a draw, and people were just sort of stunned by the area, and I'm like, yeah, I know, that's why I moved here.
I think for me, when we go back to the field again, we carry our own field. What was so beautiful about the Spanish gathering is that it was a whole lot of fields coming together, and of course, then like when you guys perform, you're kind of bringing that all into one. You know, you're kind of creating an even bigger field with the music when everybody, especially when people are joining in and you know singing along. And I know some of your singing, Belle, you kind of got people to join in, which was, and of course with Alex and music, because people know it so well, they couldn't help themselves, in particular Ben. But
you can't have a party without Ben. Ben was just, you know, as much of a liability as he is, I reviewed some of the footage again today, like just on Patreon. I was watching a couple of them back, and it was just like, it was absolutely electric. And Ben, front and center, just like shouting and almost singing the song for me. Because he knows all my lyrics better than I do. So yeah, Ben's like a VIP, a fucking liability, but a great man. I love him.
Weather Reloaded said, asked a question for Belle, which is I know the answer to, but the question is, have you performed publicly much before the Guru Gathering? You seem very confident.
Yeah, I've done a lot of performance. I did actually used to make my living performing. What I haven't done much of is recording. So everyone's kind of different in their musical journey. Yeah, I've been done a lot of performance. But I'm looking forward to this next stage of recording.
Okay.
So, and also performing, but yeah, most of my performance hasn't been with my own material. So yeah, I've only just recently started performing my own material, which is a completely new experience, and yeah, one that I'm really enjoying. So yeah.
Cool. And you've written a couple of songs since the gathering. You've been a little bit inspired by some of the stuff you've encountered, and can I ask if there's a bit of a flavor of cosmology or the earth-related stuff in any of the new stuff?
Yeah, well, I have a very dear friend who's on a similar wavelength to me and to all of everybody on this call, I imagine, and she does a lot with fire and fire ceremony, and I'm doing an event with her soon. So I've written a song about fire and the four elements, or actually, well, the five elements and ether. So I've written a song about that, and I've got one brewing about flat Earth, but I'd quite like it to be evocative of flat Earth rather than very blunt. I'd rather it to be Yeah. So I'm just.
Don't be a twat.
Yeah,
That's more my style,
well,
actually.
yeah, okay.
Exactly, Alex. I don't want to step on your toes. So yeah.
We'll stay in our lane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm just gonna do it in my style. I'm just thinking about it. So I'm planning for that to be ready, for next year, definitely. So yeah.
Can I offer quickly just a technical thought? For me, the ether, I might be wrong on this, but the ether is like the background in which the four can propagate: earth, air, wind, and fire. So for me, like ether might be the mother of the four, the holder of the four. Just food for thought. I might be wrong on that, but that's where I'm at.
That's exactly what's in my lyrics, Dave. No worries.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
So
sorry,
it's
Andrea.
an interesting thing, the fire bit, because I have been moving through my own fire, and in particular looking at rage and anger, which is such an uncomfortable thing for us to experience, in particularly in the feminine, and how not allowing the fire to burn away as some of that, or as used for the alchemizing, where I actually remain stuck. There's a really important element, but of course none of us were really shown how to have sacred rage. And I think actually that's the thing, that when we see the conflict in communities or in the world or whatever, it's because there's so much suppression of not only that, but obviously with that comes our sacred no, which for me, most of us weren't given the opportunity to have that honored when we were younger, whether it be in society and familial or whatever. And so most of us, that fire is kind of shut down, and all of the elements are equally important and necessary in terms of alchemizing, which for me personally is what this is all about. I know that Steve Young, who you're going to have an interview with next week, that's his big thing. He looks at it all through the elements and the alchemizing of the elements. So that'll be an interesting conversation for you to have.
I'll post that after the conversation. It'll be off, it won't be live. Yeah, I'll post that. But yeah. Clabsy74 says, is there a date? If you're asking the question about the date for the party next September, then it is the 23rd, 24th, 25th, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess we'd have the place for the. I mean, the actual equinox, I think, is the 23rd. So we'd want to get in there on the 22nd to set up. 23rd, 24th. I don't know. We're going to have to clear up on the Monday, aren't we? I suppose. So I don't know. We'll have to talk about that. But around those days.
But it's around that.
But we're working on that, and we will have it released soon. We're just trying to build a website so that there's a process that people can get tickets.
Clabsy is 1 year awake. Wow, you're welcome, and that new. But Clabsy also said, I thought this would be interesting, was that, where is it? Clabsy said something about Alex that I found. Oh yeah, Frans, Bell, Alex, all beautiful souls that radiate wonderful stuff. And they also said, Alex always struck me as a truly beautiful soul, even across the internet.
Well, that's nice. Thank you very much. Most people think I'm a twat on the internet.
Clabsy, you need to come along next year and see for yourself.
Yeah, I'm actually all right when you get to know me. I'm very outspoken, and I'm very honest and very brash, and very working class. I smoke and I drink, and that puts a lot of people off. But once you actually get to know me, I'm all right. I think I'm all right.
Yeah. Well, a midweek event, because the reason we've done it as a midweek event is because we wanted to do it over the equinox, and for most people who are coming to Spain, they're not coming just for 3 days. We found they tended to take a 1 week flight in, and so it didn't seem hugely material to us whether we did it over the weekend or whether it was over the week. And so because the first one was over the equinox, and we felt that we would meet that again. So hopefully it's not a major problem. And if you are a teacher, I hope you're teaching children that they do not live on a spinning ball. That's what Clapper says, they're a teacher. So I've been getting some because of the audio problem with the different levels and stuff. We're using OBS, and I have not really I'm not that good at it. And King of Red Car has been asking me to turn down some button or something or whatever. Right click on audio, mixer, filter, noise gate. Oh my gosh, I need to have a whole schooling on that. I won't be able to do it now. I do apologize.
It's not a zone of genius.
No.
At all.
I said to Harry years ago, Harry MacDonald, Globesmith, John Smith Global, I said, Harry, I love doing the speaking and stuff like that, but I just need someone else to do like the camera stuff, and what have you. And he did end up making that one video, which got quite a lot of views, but thanks to Dave Weiss putting it actually on his channel back in the day. And I'm thinking of Dave Weiss because he kindly put the cover that Alex did of Man on the Moon, because I'd added some video stuff to it, and he liked what I'd done with it. He put it on his channel, and it got 1,500 views like overnight. And I think I got 3 new subscribers. So look at me.
So Belle, if people want to get to know you and your music a little better, I know you said you were sort of working on your website and your social media. So where can they find you? And of course we can put the links. We can put the links underneath the live tonight.
Yeah.
Where would they be able to find more of?
Yeah, I'm at Belle Barnett on YouTube, and it's BEL, just one L, Barnett, BEL, BARNETT. And my website is bellebarnett.co.uk. So yeah,
we'll put the links underneath the live tonight, and then
I'm dropping the links in now.
Okay, Dave's going to put the links in.
So they're in there now. Well, it'll take a few seconds, but they're in there now. So that's how you can get hold of Belle. I highly recommend you go and subscribe. I know someone had made a comment earlier on. They liked one of your I know you don't have much on there, but that's something that you'd had prior to this latest release of yours that they liked. But go and subscribe, because I think you're going to see a lot of stuff coming from Belle, and we want to support wonderful musicians who are big time banners or broadcasters of the truth of a different story, not the what do you call them, Alex? The broadcasters of the lies, the news one, the ones who broadcast.
My God, I forget the lyrics of that song, but that pretty much outlines what we're being fed. The man with the suit and the tie looks me dead in the eye and he lies. Very true.
Well, that's quite current at the moment with the whole sort of narrative with Trump and the BBC, right? And him suing them because
it's such a clown show. I mean, I don't even entertain it anymore. It's just like every time I see all that stuff, I just hear. It's just.
I think it's so that we are staring at that and thinking that the BBC is the problem, and then forgetting that it's across the board. It's not just one little broadcasting channel that's guilty of it. It's a bit like the Epstein stuff. The Epstein stuff is a distraction, really, because that kind of stuff is going on in all sorts of places, and we're so fixated. Not to say that it's right or not stomach turning or any of that stuff, but it's it is a little bit of like, if we stare over there and look at that's the problem, then we're forgetting that it's it's across the board, really.
Yeah, none of that is real as far as I'm concerned. Thankfully, I'm at a point now where I'm obviously all of that stuff's coming up on my feed. As soon as I open Facebook, it's Trump this and Trump that. And some people even truthers are like, oh, Trump, it's like, oh, So I'm trying to sort of keep that at arm's length now, really, and just actually for the last few days I've been in the studio working on True Solfeggio Volume 3, and I've been microdosing mushrooms like first thing in the morning, and my God, it's really put a spring in my step and getting really creative, and I'm able to spend longer in the studio. Before I'll get stressed after a couple of hours and I'd have to have a break, but I find myself like really focused like for hours and hours. So that's good to keep all that stuff away, all that Trump stuff and all the BBC, all that. It's just like it's so vile, all of it. So to keep that arm's length and get back into creativity again is something we all should do. Really, it's just turn that.
It's what keeps you in the cage of the mind. That's really what it's doing. It's keeping you in the mind. And like we said earlier, we actually all need to be able to create. We need to drop into our bodies and to create. We create from our bodies. We don't create from our minds. Our minds are just like
mushroom.
No.
Yeah, shout out to Mushroom Joe. Thanks, brother, because they're still going strong, mate. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, well, mushrooms open your, they open those pathways, those creative pathways. So
mycelium network.
They're really powerful things, and if you use it in the right way, then they really are.
I was quite inspired actually, and there's a documentary on Netflix. Believe it or not, how this documentary series ended up on Netflix, I don't know, but there's the first, it's 4-part series, and the first part's about like psilocybin, and the second part's like MDMA, and then there's like peyote and all of that, and it's so well made, and it shows the health benefits of all of those things and how it can get people out of depression and PTSD and all of that sort of stuff. And it was like how that ended up on Netflix, I don't know, so that, and I thought, well, I've got a fridge full of mushrooms. Like, why aren't I microdosing? Because I was always like, let's take a few grams and go into outer space, like into the ether. But that's not the way to approach it, I don't think. I think microdosing is definitely the way forward. So I've been doing that the last few days. Shelley as well. We've both got a spring in our step, and we're whistling. And this is, it's just like, it's just not too much. It's just nice to remove the cloudiness, So.
Yeah. Natural remedies for well-being. I think if we do them right, I mean, the whole demonization of cannabis is a good example of that. When it's done right, it can be very powerful and healing so many different things. So we see it with psilocybin too.
Well, it's kind of on point too, because with Venus in Scorpio, that's kind of the Venus in Scorpio thing, because Venus is wanting us to create beauty. And it's in Scorpio, so it wants us to go to. It doesn't want to do the superficial stuff. It wants to go and do the deeper stuff. It wants us, whether that be relationships or love or our hearts or whatever. And I truly believe that we are creating from our hearts. That's where our truth is, our real true essence. So that's very on point for the astrology at the moment.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think that we are so grateful that you came together and created, with Belle's beautiful music, created something memorable and opened some doors, I think, to, for Belle to take her talent through and for us to all gain from that. So we'll be looking forward to, I'll be watching your channel, and the links are in here for anyone else to follow, and we'll be looking to promote your stuff so that you get out there. You have a great message, a great way of delivering it, super confident with the audience, as it were, and so I think you deserve to be getting that platform to shine. So I hope it goes really, really well.
Thank you.
You were very courageous in taking the steps that you did.
It's quite courageous to go, I'm going to go to Spain to a bloke's house who I don't even fucking know and record with him for 2 nights. I don't know how this is going to go. That's quite courageous, but I'm glad it all worked out well and we got on well. So that was good. That was cool.
Oh, that's just how I roll.
But actually, we know you better than you know yourself, probably, because we're watching you.
Have you got cameras set up in my house or something?
That's what that mosquito was. One of those.
Well, you know, when you meet people, if you've got a social media presence, when you meet people, they go, I know you, and you're like, oh, do you? But then you forget that, you know, when you're putting yourself out into the ether,
people have a sense of you.
People
already.
get a sense.
Well, most people originally thought I was a guy from Texas. Remember that?
Yes, back in the day.
They thought I was this guy. I was going with a cowboy hat, and they thought I was actually the guy from. That was like, come on, man, that's not me. Well, it is me. You know,
yeah,
it's
that
an
might have been
example.
my first. You know, when I might have first seen the Flat Earth Man doing his stuff, I might have assumed you were an American.
Yeah, most people did, which is a compliment. You know, I didn't set out to deceive anyone, like, but it was just a character to hide behind. You know, all of the interviews I've done. I remember right in the early days when I had my first interview, my buddy Stellium7, who's in the chat, he was like, "You should go on Globebuster. You should go on as Flat Earth Man." Like, "Hey, Bob, nice to meet you, man. Hey," you know, I was like, "Oh God, I can't hold that accent for that long. I couldn't do that." So. No, it was well that worked. That little project worked, and I'm very fond of that album and that all of the animations that I did. It was it moved a lot of minds. That particular character. So
yes,
yeah, maybe
millions of views, right, on some of that content. So
yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, on my channel, if you collate, yeah, there's definitely millions there, but it's been shared on so many other platforms, and I've found some of my songs on Facebook with 500,000 views. So if you collate it, yeah, absolutely, it's reached millions. So yeah, so it's you know, it's very powerful, very, you know, comedy and, you know, visuals, and, you know, how visual I was and animated I was in those videos were really, really powerful, particularly to children as well. A lot of mothers were contacting me going, "I use your stuff to educate my children," you know. So that's when all the children's books came out after that. So it's like, yeah, it's been a very powerful, because it was just me mucking around really, you know, and hiding behind a character. I didn't have any idea how powerful it would be. I should really do more comedic stuff, because comedic stuff, you know, people are more likely to hit the share button because people want to make their friends laugh, and you know, that 5-minute musical video, although they take 2 or 3 months to make, it's there forever, and it'll be shared and shared and shared because it's fun, regardless of what you think, you know. But there's all those truth bombs, line for line for line, and all the visuals that I'm putting in there as well. You know, just proof, or at least, you know, getting people to think critically as well. So yeah, it's been really, really, really effective. I should do more of that, but you know, I'm only one man. I need a cloning machine.
Yeah, someone did mention cloning in the chat actually, but no, well,
that's going on. That's another stream.
Now you got Mushroom Joe action going on. I think you'll be able to produce a lot more, and I do think that what I've seen actually in the last little while is you collaborating more. Steel Falconer, obviously, Frans.
Yeah.
Now working with Jasper, and of course with Bell.
Yeah.
You know, I think that
it's great.
Then, you know, it's you need, the music needs an orchestra. You know, you need it. It needs to be. One man on his own is only going to be able to achieve so much, you know. So I think coming out with the things that you have and adding it to what other people have and so on, that's going to make...
Well, it's a journey, isn't it? I mean, finding the right people is essential, and I've never found the right people. I mean, trying to find a competent musician in Spain, pretty hard. Trying to find a competent musician who speaks English, my Spanish is terrible, and then try to find one who's also awake and aware. I mean, it's quite a tough call, really. So I'm very blessed to have met Frans and Bell and Jasper, you know, and this is all coming together, and it's almost got a synchronicity. It's almost like, you know, a bit of synchronicity going on, you know. So, you know, and I welcome that. It's not like I'm going to go, no, I only work on my own in my own little, you know, man cave. And that, it's like, it was initially like a bit of, oh, okay. Don't really work with other people that, but you know, when you get to meet, I met Frans, he's just a beautiful person. I just love him, and we get on so well together, and you know, it just gels, and I'm like, oh, I can work with other people, you know. So he sort of broke that spell really initially. So now I'm open to like, yeah, if you're awake and aware and you want to do conscious music and you want to, you're doing it for the right reasons. You're not doing it for money, because God knows there's no fucking money in this, but you're doing it for the right reasons and you're working with the right people and you're doing the right content lyrically. And then I'm all for that. But so thankfully I'm starting to. Frans calls me a magnet. He said, "Your people are, you're attracting these people, which I love, So yeah, long may it continue, and I hope to work with other musicians, and as long as they're awake and aware, I don't want to be doing any more tepid love songs anymore. That's gone. That
people may not know this. You may do that. Belle had, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but Belle had, that she said to herself months ago that she'd come across your music and she's like, I'd like to, or she'd been listening to something, I'd like to make some music with him, right? Or I'd like to work with him, or I'd like to do something with him. You said that, and you didn't know about the event. And
No.
and then I don't quite know what was going on for you, but at some point you're like, I'd like to come to the event. And I'm like, if you're coming, then I've got to try and get you to play. And that's just how that all kind of came. And then just before the shit hit the pan at Alex's place, you get in on a set, blow everyone away, and here we are. I say it was synchronicity. It was preordained. Like France will tell you.
Absolutely. There is no free will.
Everything is already all been organized before. So no, it's a beautiful thing.
Well, we look forward to things that are going to unfold and come into manifestation in the coming months, both individually and hopefully collaboratively.
Yeah.
Someone wanted to say hi to the cat. Say hello.
Well, if we can't see Shirley, at least we can see one of her cats.
Is Shirley not? Yeah,
she's in the bedroom reading. She's in the bedroom reading the book. We had like 12 cats in here earlier. There was 4 on the sofa. I don't know why, but sometimes they just all come in. And you're the best one, though, aren't you? You're the best. Yes, you are.
It's got those guitar fingers there.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, did you want to have any last words before I let you go, Belle?
Just to say thanks for having me on. Thanks for sharing my music. Thanks, Alex, for a wonderful weekend. And yeah, I look forward to sharing more and collaborating more and being more part of your network. So yeah.
Awesome. Maybe if in future, like down the months ahead, if you've got 1 or 2 songs down, you'd come back and just tell us a little bit about the song and what's the thoughts behind it and stuff. That would be quite special. So.
Yeah, I'd love that. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And was there anything for you, Mr. Alex Guru?
Yeah, I just want to say I expect you to die, Mr. Bond.
We have our finger on the nuclear thing. I think all of that.
No, just always a pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure, man. Just let's keep in touch. We'll try and make next year's event absolutely. Oh, it's going to be outstanding. But there's going to be a lot that goes into it. That property that you showed, it's like that's got to be the one. I mean, I'll go and view it when the opportunity arises. And but just the sheer, like you say, it's palatial. It's like. I like that. I like that.
Awesome. I got a good feeling about it.
Yeah, and it would be worthy of the quality of the music and the quality of the experience. So it would be again an unforgettable weekend or few days if it's not over the weekend.
Yeah, we'll step up. We'll step up with the numbers. We'll step up with the music and the place. Watch the space.
Yeah, we'll move up to the next level.
Well, thank you for coming, both of you. And
thank you. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome, guys.
Lots of love.
Lots of love.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.
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 Cool. Let's just go back to here. All right. Well, that wasn't too bad a break. So I mean, it's hard to top that. How awesome to have both Bill and Alex. Alex was a surprise guest. Bill didn't know that he was going to pop in, so we'd spoken to Alex yesterday and said, hey, why don't you, if you don't mind, pop in. But you can see Alex really enjoyed the experience and the process with Bill, so that's a good thing. Was there anything you wanted to say? I know you were wanting to talk about something that
no, just that on Sunday there is a square with Chiron and Mars, and I just say that because it's like knowing the weather report, and the guidance I've got from an astrologer is that it's an opportunity for us to, because we're in a sort of purging phase of the moon, so the release phase, and we're sort of in the deep dive of Scorpio, that it's an opportunity for us to look at the toxic masculine. Now, I'm not saying masculine is toxic. I'm saying that there has been wounding around the masculine, both for the feminine and for the masculine. And so it's an opportunity for us to be reminded that if something comes up, that it's an opportunity to do that self-reflection work. I had planned on doing explaining about the energy of resentment, but I'll leave that for another time. It's a pretty powerful cage that we put ourselves in, and I have a sense that it's more prevalent in our own fields and in the collective field than we realize, and it's keeping us prisoners. So that's
Sterling was wanting to find out who Clabsy was. I am also unsure, to be honest, but I do appreciate all of your contributions tonight. Teresa says that it's such a great unexpected evening. Thank you. You're welcome. And we will, obviously I've got Bell's links here. I really encourage you to go and have a look. I'll put it also in the comments section if people don't have the access to the live chat. I will, King of Red Car, scroll down to the third slide. It's just out of sight. Do you know what, Frans? That, I didn't see that until right now. I'm not...
Oh, right, yeah.
I wonder...
Turned down.
Well, I don't know. I mean...
We'll look at it for next time.
Talk to Luke about that as well, because it was lovely having both Alex and Bill on, and we do want to have more folks come and join us for the gathering. What I didn't say while Alex was talking, wanted to say was one of the most fantastic parts of the gathering in Spain was the opportunity for people to come together, and we have to work on that. I think what Liz was saying about there being division and we need to kind of bridge that. I think if we are to overcome the division, the scattering that has been.
I think this is where this is where the resentment piece comes in, and I'm not saying that it's a shameful thing. I think we're all carrying that as a consequence of things that have happened to us in the past, perhaps even past lives. I think particularly in the feminine, but possibly in the masculine too. Well, not possibly, definitely in the masculine.
Yeah.
And so I think the way that we heal that is when we're all willing to take responsibility for our own shit. But that can be harder than you realize because it's often operating unconsciously. So.
Yeah. So, and as I said, I am talking to Steve, the quantum physicist, Steve Young, on next week, and it may need a little editing, and then hopefully by the middle of the week I can put that up. We'll be here next Friday, same time and same place. So we will definitely be back.
Yeah, just in terms of the gathering, we are at the moment just putting all the pieces, getting all the pieces of the puzzle together, and then that we've put in a website, which Greg is very kindly assisting us with. So there will be, in the fullness of time, there will be a place for you to go to be able to see what that is, the dates, etc., and then obviously the opportunity to purchase a ticket, because this year it will be a ticket event.
And then obviously we've got 17th of April penciled in for our English gathering, which our plan is to do a similar thing where it's music-based, gathering of people, nice venue, good food for a weekend, just in April, around the 17th of April. So we're sort of, weighing up about getting a venue, committing to a venue with the associated financial elements to that, whilst we don't yet have a certainty about drawing in the numbers, in the same way that Alex might be able to, bring people to Spain. So we'll get more information to you on that in due course, and we will see you all, well, many of you as possible, the next weekend or next week. Bye for now.
Take care.